just being like, this is the worst thing ever. You have no organisation. Your leader literally just had a go at me. The groups were rubbish. And it's just the worst thing to ever exist. So hello and welcome back to my channel. I thought I would talk about NCS today. Not that it's like going on, so this is really applicable, but I still have a lot of built up anger from this experience that I would like to share. And I was going to wear my NCS top, but it doesn't really fit me very well. But spoiler, the NCS top is the only good thing that came out of the programme. So yeah, let's talk about NCS. So I did the October 2019 programme. I did not do the summer programme. I was not going to sign up for something that long. Like, no, I wasn't going to sign up for that. And basically there are 4 phases. So I'm going to talk about the 4 phases and then also talk about like why it was awful and why you should not do NCS. Because every video I see about NCS is, oh, NCS was so good, I made lifelong friends, everyone was really nice. Not for me. I haven't spoken to anyone from NCS since literally the day that we finished NCS. I didn't even go to the graduation thing because I was like, I hate all these people. And I hated the experience. And I did not want to go to that, so yeah, it was a bad time. I've made notes because I barely remember this. This was a long time ago. Was it even 2019 or was it 2018? No, maybe it was 2018. I went in year 12. I went in October of year 12 and I'm in first year of uni. So yeah, no, that was 2018. It was a long time ago, but it was awful, and let me tell you why. So I did the autumn programme, which means that you don't do you do all the same stuff but like in a more condensed programme. Like I think the residential in summer or something is like a week. This was like 2 days or 3 days or something like that. So let's start. So basically 2 people from NCS came into my sixth form and they're like, hey, do NCS, it'll look good on your CV and it will look good on your personal statement. And I was like, wow, it might be fun. It might help me make friends because I didn't really have any friends. I was like, that might be a good idea. And it was quite cheap. And I was like, yeah, okay, we'll do that. So, you know, I sent in my application form literally like a day after these people came into school. So it was early on in the process. It wasn't like I applied really late or anything. I was like one of the first people to apply. And it was £50. So, you know, I sent all of that off. I paid, I did all of that. It got to about 2 days before the first phase, which is the residential. I had not been told anything about NCS. I had not been told if I was going. I had been told nothing. So we contacted them and we were like, hey, I applied like 2 months ago or like a month ago. Are we going? Is this a thing? And they're like, oh, we lost your application. So that was really fun. And basically there were 2 groups. There was group A, which was, you know, the group for where I lived, my location, like the place where I lived, and then group B for where my school was. I obviously applied for group A because it was where I lived. I didn't want to be travelling every day to do this stupid NCS. They lost my application. First of all, their mistake, so I had to fill all of these medical forms in about 3 seconds. And they're like, oh, so sorry. I was like, you're an idiot. Incompetent admin basically lost my entire application. And then they were like, oh, by the way, there's no space left in group A. There's no space left in the group that you applied to be in and were really one of the first people to apply to be in because we lost your application. So I was then put in group B, which I didn't want to be in. I was like, honestly, do I even want to do NCS if I have to travel like 3 hours on a bus each day to go and do this programme, which is a waste of time? The answer was no. But we'll get on to why that didn't actually even happen. Then I'm also pretty sure we found out that everyone else had paid £30 and we'd paid 50. So yeah, I'm pretty sure they discounted us because, you know, don't scam one person. So yeah, then we went on phase 1. I was already feeling like, God, this is a mess. I hate it already. And you know, we went to a residential place. We went to like a water sports place, and it was actually quite nice. Like, I kind of made friends, I kind of didn't. It was okay. Like, I had an alright time. And then basically it got to like, so yeah, I was supposed to be in group A, but I was in group B. So you did all of these like sports activities, team building activities with your group. So I did all of these activities with group B because I was going to end up being in that group basically. Then I met I met someone who was like, I don't want to be in group B anymore. He was like, I don't want to be in group A anymore, I want to be in group B. So I was like, right, let's swap, because we both don't want to be in our group. So we eventually managed to swap, which, you know, was us entirely doing it. It was not the NCS people thinking, hey, these people don't want to be in the group that they're in, maybe we could swap them over because that would make logical sense. No, it was literally just us two having to go up to the leaders and being like, hi, can we swap groups? And they're like, I guess. I was like, wow, incompetent. So then I eventually swapped groups. So I went from group B to group A. This was on like the last day of the residential. So I spent all of this time making friends with group B. Yeah, I then moved to group A. I didn't know any of them, and they were supposed to be my team. They were supposed to be people I've made friends with. I did not know any of them. I didn't know their names. I didn't know anything about them. And then we had to move on to the next phase where we were supposed to all be like working in a team. I didn't know any of them. So that was a mess. Residential was good though. It was fun. It was very poorly organised, as in the like they put loads of water sports like right before we were leaving, and I was like, well, we're all gonna be soaking wet on a coach. That's a dumb idea. Like, it wasn't organised very well. The food was awful. It wasn't great. It was fun, but I don't recommend it. Then phase 2 and 3. I think phase 2 is supposed to be like when you like review charities and stuff, and then phase 3 is like when you make your own like action plan project thing. So it was boring, is what I've written down. My first word here is boring, because it was really boring. Phase 2, we just basically had people coming in to talk to us, and I was like, great, fine, I don't care. It was okay. The talks were not engaging. I did get a sperm keyring because they were like, it was like an STD company, like testing people that came in. They were like, do you want a sperm keyring? I was like, yeah, go on then. Best part of NCS, right? T-shirt and sperm keyring. I've still got Spermy on my keychain. He's on my house keys because Spermy looks after me. And then, we did a first aid course, which was fun. A bit boring, and also, can I say this? I don't think the guy knew what he was doing. I've done several first aid courses, right? I've done quite a few. And some of the stuff I got taught there was very different to the things I've been taught elsewhere. But I got a little like card that says I'm now a first aid trained person until 2022, which, yeah, fine, but irrelevant, but it was okay. And then we had to kind of design our own group project. And I didn't even know these people. I'd like barely spoken to these people, and we had to design a project. And I was like, great, right, fine. So we were looking at either doing like mental health stuff or something with the air ambulance. We eventually voted on mental health stuff because I talk a lot of shit about mental health and I'm passion. So that was like the main reason we chose the mental health stuff, which my leader loved to point out to me. And, you know, we all kind of assigned to different groups. Like, one of us was like, one group was going to be like researching things, one group was going to be doing other things. So I got assigned to research. And by assigned, I mean I picked, because I didn't want to be in the other groups. And we had a group of 3 boys and me. And they were like, right, we're going to the library to do research. And I was like, I might be autistic and take everything quite literally, but I know when you're just bold, like just barefaced lying to me. They were not going to go research, they were going to go and, you know, get chips or something like that. It was a group of 3 boys who hadn't done anything this whole time. And they were like, right, we're going to the library, do you want to come with us? I was like, no, not really, because you're not going to do any research. Did they do any research? No. So I was correct. So I did all this research, they did nothing. So 25% of the research team did the whole research section. I love that. And, you know, so they left and I stayed and I did all the research and, you know, we got stuff done and it was okay. So then what? I still didn't really know any of my teammates. I didn't know their names, I didn't know anything about them. The project had kind of gone to crap. It was a bit of a mess. Like, no one really knew what was happening anymore. It was rubbish. It was crap. Like the other group, like Group B, just did a bake sale for something. Easy. We should have done that, but no. So then we did some stupid project, and if anyone from NCS is watching this, I don't care. I hated this experience. It was a waste of time. And then what did I do? Oh, then we get to the drama. So one day I was having a bad day, and I'd put on all of my forms that I had mental health problems. So they were aware that, you know, I wasn't thriving mentally. So I was having a breakdown, like a proper, I'd been crying for a little while. And I asked my leader, I was like, can I go home? And she was like, I think we need to go on a chat first. I hate adults so much. So she took me on this walk, and she basically just had a go at me and told me that, you know, if my team chose to not respect me because I'd gone home for the sake of my mental health, that was fine. They were allowed to not respect me for being mentally ill. And I was like, well, what about, you know, this person? They went home because they had a cold yesterday. And she's like, no, that's not the same though, is it? I was like, I don't like you. So she basically had a go at me. She said, well, why didn't you go with your team yesterday when they went to the library? I was like, because they weren't going to do library work. She's like, you didn't know that. I was like, did they do any library work? No. She basically had a go at me. She made me cry. Don't like her. She gave me yoga mum wellness vibes. And she was like, you're not mentally ill. Your team were allowed to disrespect you because mental illness isn't a thing. Our project was on mental health, and she seemed like she'd be like, just do 20 minutes of yoga. You don't need mental health. You don't need anything. Yeah, so she made me cry a lot. I then went home, and she called my mum, and she was like, that's just gone home because she has a headache. I was like, don't think it was a headache, was it? I think it was because I was feeling shit, and then you decided to have a go at me and make me feel even worse. So that was really fun. Then we like finished up, and you know, the leader, like it was like the last day or something, and the leader was like, oh, did you enjoy this? I was like, no. And she was like, I suppose you get out what you put in. I was like, who did all of the research? Who proposed the idea? Who did most of the work? Me. And she's like, why did you do NCS? I was like, for my personal statement. That's why everyone does it, let's be real. But I was bold enough to tell her the truth. And she was like, well, yeah, I suppose you get out what you put in. I suppose, you know, your motivations were just maybe not in the right place. I was like, shut up. I hate adults so much. Like, I was not, you know, mentally thriving, and one of the other kids was really friendly to me, and they were like, do you need a hand? Do you need anything? I was like, yeah, be nice to me because our leader's being a bitch. So she was, yeah, our leader sucked, and then we basically had the graduation. I didn't go because I hated my team. I thought you had to go, but we had like a Snapchat group, so I messaged on the Snapchat group. I was like, is this compulsory? They're like, no. I was like, oh, I'm not fucking. I was like, I'm not going to be face to face with that leader again, considering how much I hate her, and to be face to face with a team that didn't really do anything. I was like, I'm not doing that. I'm absolutely not. You see these notes right at the bottom? I hated it. Smiley face. Worst experience. Don't recommend. And then basically they called me up, like, I don't know, it was at some point near the end of the programme, and they were like, so do you have anything to say about NCS? And I was like, oh, honey, do I? So we had a massive go at them for like an hour on the phone, just being like, this is the worst thing ever. You have no organisation. Your leader literally just had a go at me. The groups were rubbish, and it's just the worst thing to ever exist. So I didn't like NCS. If you didn't, I'm sure the title of this video is going to be like, NCS is the worst experience of my life, or I hate NCS, because don't do it. I don't know what's going on with COVID and like if they'll start it up again, but if they do, don't go, because I was like, I want it for my personal statement, and I was like, well, I'm not going to have gone through all of that shit to not put it in my personal statement. So I put 2 sentences in my personal statement. Did that help get me into uni? No, obviously not. You don't need it for a personal statement. My personal statement was fine without the sentence that was like, oh, through carrying out NCS we learnt about this. I was like, I didn't learn shit. I was like, oh, I learnt teamwork skills. Did I? Or did I just get kind of lugged with all the work and attacked by an adult? yeah, I think it was the second one. I do have a blog post about this with the toilet, which I'll link down below because I pretty much just copied what I said in that blog post. But yeah, don't go on NCS. It's a waste of money, it's a waste of time, and it will ruin your mental health, and it just isn't worth it. It's honestly, it's a better idea to just bloody pick a group of like 3 friends and go to like a water sports place together, because they're not going to bully you. It's not going to be shit. Oh, and another thing, one of the like people at the place, we were going cycling, we were going like mountain biking, and I'm not the most physically fit, first of all. Second of all, I have an eating disorder. I wasn't really functioning at my fullest, and I was tired because we'd been cycling for a long time, and I'm not physically fit, and I was just struggling a little bit. And this guy was like, oh, you're just not very good at cycling, are you? You're just not very physically fit. I was like, don't even. I was like, do you want to trigger my eating disorder? Because competition. He's like, oh, you're at the back of the pack, aren't you? I was like, don't even, because I'm now going to want to push myself to the point of being physically unwell so that I can speed up because of one comment that you've made. Yeah, it was bad. It was not good. Don't recommend. Hated NCS. It was a bad experience. Don't go. Don't do it at all. Yeah, that is just this video. My pieces of advice. Don't go to NCS. Seriously. Don't go on NCS.
This is our